Something I find entertaining most of the time is finding little websites and discussions and seeing say, what kind of message are they going to promote? Are they going to be disingenuous little humps that take one side of the propaganda fence, or are they going to actually look at things with a, oh, what's the word, objective viewpoint? And with Peter Pan and Wendy recently come out, I found this lovely little thing called We Got This Covered. Article title, Peter Pan and Wendy getting review bombed, because that can only go in one direction, into oblivion doesn't bode well for The Little Mermaid. Yes, imagine bad writing, bad CGI, bad live action storytelling could bode ill. Does not bode well for the next live action CGI atrocity. In this article from We Got This Covered, it doesn't take a genius to figure out why certain sections of the Discord have been so hateful towards Disney's impending live action of The Little Mermaid. Now, what section could they be talking about? This is the same cookie cutter bullshit that we've been getting from the mainstream, that if you criticize anything oh, mermaids shouldn't be having an actual legitimate discussion of why Ariel shouldn't be black, well, because it's Ariel, but having a discussion why mermaids shouldn't be black, well, you're a racist. It's like, well, no, not really, because these are actually the kind of discussions nerds have all the time, because they take scientific information and insert it into their fandom and go, well, does this make sense? Does this not make sense? It has nothing to do with any ideological bullshit politics or racism or misogynistic stuff. It's just a discussion amongst people who are interested in the source material of why this can or cannot happen, why this should or should not take place. But the article goes on. It says, anyone with half a brain, you hear that, if you disagree with Ariel being black, you have half a brain. Maybe that's not what they're implying, but this wonderful little link, I was curious. Before I go on with the article, let's go check out and see what this is. Ooh, this article from April 16th from We Got This Covered. In devastating news for trolls and racists, it's almost like, well, you're announcing your own biases. The Little Mermaid is the longest live-action Disney remake ever. That's not something to brag about when it looks like it's going to be a pile of hot garbage. Let's see what this article has to say. The easiest way for Disney to at least try and quieten down the backlash and trolling being aimed at the upcoming remake of Little Mermaid was for the long-awaited first trailer to absolutely knock it out of the park. It didn't. It looked like garbage. The way Halle Bailey is sitting on this rock, this is a bad still because, oh, that CGI is so bad. It looks uncomfortable. It looks awkward. The way when her head comes out in the iconic scene where Ariel makes it to the surface, her hair flies up in the air. I believe the actress even stated that she almost broke her neck. The weight of her hair pulls her hair and jerks it front to back. It looks so awkward and uncomfortable, and that's what they showed off in the trailer. Like, there was nothing you can do about that. But unfortunately, let's see. Long-awaited trailer. Knock it out of the park, boy. It did. Oh, yeah, it did. It did. But not the way they wanted it to. Make it clear in no uncertain terms that the project has the potential to be one of Mouse House's greatest live-action do-overs yet. It won't be. Disney's live actions have been forgettable. Absolutely forgettable. I believe they made a Dumbo live action. They made a Lady and the Tramp live action. Do you remember any of those? Did you watch them? Because I had to actually be reminded about Dumbo and Lady and the Tramp. I couldn't remember them. Unfortunately, this isn't exactly what happened, of course. With the shoddy CGI being dragged over the hot coals of online criticism, okay, well, hey, that is legitimate criticism. All while the unsavory negativity being pointed in the direction of Halle Bailey casting as Ariel continues to loom in the background. It's getting to the point where her being cast, the initial casting The initial reaction was that, why is Ariel black? That was the initial reaction. And the uproar started, arguing, well, you're racist if you criticize it. It's like, no, people are asking, why is Ariel, the redhead, the white redhead mermaid, in the classic story that they grew up with over decades, why are they making her black? I don't think that's actually the argument anymore. Because now that more and more trailers have come out, the argument, the criticism, the discussion is the CGI, the live action animals, Sebastian, Flounder. They look absolutely atrocious. Sure, Halle Bailey. Oh, of course, all her sisters, and the fact that the king had a rather diverse family, which means they came from a diverse set of mothers. So, King Triton's a pimp. I said it before, I'll say it again. Nobody's really talking about Halle Bailey being cast. It's kind of it's the bottom of the list. Her singing is definitely not going to be criticized because she's a fantastic singer. Now, the words to the songs, that's been criticized. The changes to two of the very, very important songs in the movie that were meaningful to the story, those have been criticized. The CGI is being criticized. Not so much about, her being a mermaid, but let's get back to this bullshit. Anyone with half a brain could have predicted the backlash coming from a mile off. Yes, because you preempted it, you called it out. It's called fan baiting. People are starting to figure it out. And I think that's the point where they start to troll back, where they pull you out, pull the other side into the argument. You start fan baiting, other people are going to troll you right back. They're going to meme you. But after the fate, let's keep going with the article. But after the fate, to have recently befallen David Lowery's Peter Pan and Wendy, should be called Wendy and Peter Pan, it would be reasonable to expect that director Rob Marshall's 2.5-hour retread of the inimitable animated classics, inimitable, okay, is going to follow its immediate predecessor in being review bombed into utter oblivion. Now, the term review bombing has been mutated into something it doesn't actually mean. People are criticizing Peter Pan and Wendy legitimately. It was a bad movie. They changed the aspects, the core aspects of all the characters. Yes, I did watch it. I did a review on it. It was horrible. My review was probably horrible too, but the movie was worse. The CGI was bad. Tinkerbell was not Tinkerbell. Wendy was not Wendy. Peter Pan was not, well, Peter Pan was close to Peter Pan. They changed the movie, top to bottom, front to back, in almost every aspect. So to claim that people criticizing the movie because it was bad is simply review bombing, you're being very disingenuous. Borderline a fucking liar. Let's go on. While there's no harm in taking issue with the way Green Knight and Peach Dragon filmmaker tackled the iconic story Peter, Wendy, Hook, and the Lost Boys, the negativity has been so overwhelming that it's become downright suspicious. Why? Is it hard to believe that people are deciding to voice their opinions on your trash movie? What are you trying to say? Because what all these new websites, these mainstream, lamestream articles fail completely to talk about, something they ignore, is that review bombing goes both ways. You will have people dropping 1s, 1 out of 10, half stars, and all that stuff, simply because they do not like the director, they do not like the studio, and they do not like the story without watching the product. At the same time, people will get it 5 out of 5, 5 stars, 10 out of 10, all this other thing, because they are nothing but moronic, brainless shills, and want to promote the movie when it does not deserve it. If it goes one way, it goes both ways. On Rotten Tomatoes, the Disney Plus original has a critical approval rating of 67%, which is not good, but only a 20% average user rating. I do believe that's gone down to 15%. Over on IMDb, Peter Pan and Wendy has plummeted to a 4.2 out of 10. That's well deserved, with 30% of all votes cast deeming it worthy of a solitary point. Nobody's obligated to fall head over heels for the sweeping fantasy fable because it's drab and trash. It's hot garbage. But it doesn't exactly feel like a coincidence that the response has been so unrelenting and overwhelmingly negative from virtually all corners. But it's not from virtually all corners because it's only a 15 or a 20 when this article was done. So it's not coming from all corners. People are actually giving it higher than a 1. They're giving it a 3 and a 4 out of 10. I don't understand what this idea that people just aren't allowed to not like a piece of media. Like, the notable additional obstacle The Little Mermaid faces, which is a huge one in fairness, is that it also needs to earn those sweet, sweet box office dollars. The Little Mermaid, I'll go ahead and make my prediction in this video. So somebody clip it, remind it. If you're even watching it this far, thank you very much if you did. $700 million. Because it's Disney, because it's a Little Mermaid, people will go to see this. People will go with their families, with their kids and everything. It will probably have a decent opening weekend, $100 million opening weekend. I think that's an easy goal. I might be overestimating. But long-term, longevity, I don't think this movie's going to have it at all. People have seen the CGI. They've heard the story. This will be seen by people who don't know anything. The people who don't go to YouTube, who don't follow social media, and idiots like me who run their mouth for fun. The drop-off will be astronomical. Word of mouth will make, again, word of mouth will make or break any movie. But I think it's going to break this one. Latest fantasy news. Review bombing sparks concern of similar treatment for The Little Mermaid as Honor Among Thieves return. What? We're not going to read that. So, what do you think? Is Peter Pan and Wendy getting review bombed? I don't think so. Not in the way they mean it. The Little Mermaid, I don't think it's got a shot. People are tired of the regurgitated cookie-cutter rehashes of classic movies, and they want new stories. They want better written stories. The CGI is going to hurt this movie, the bad CGI. Taking two beloved songs and changing them, that will have an effect. People will have opinions on those. Halle Bailey as Ariel, that's at the bottom of the list of criticisms now. Too much has come out. But let me know what you think in the comments. I appreciate you making this far. Leave a like, leave a dislike. How about you subscribe? Have a good night.